In Germany, one has to up to 3 years parenting leave per child, and you're entitled to this until your child turns 8. So how you split it is absolutely up to you and your family's needs. This is a really amazing perk, but today I'm going to be talking about how lonely maternity or parenting leave can be, regardless of this also amazing perk. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for those of you that are new here, my name is Tafara, and this is aka Mama. This is a space where we talk about motherhood, navigating parenthood and raising children abroad. So just to wrap up on that 3-year parenting leave perk that we have in Germany, a lot of people always ask me, oh my gosh, like how much do you get paid during this time period? So for a lot of working moms, they commonly take 1 year off, and generally, in that year, you get 65% of what your previous salary was as an allowance. Although this is capped at an amount of 1,800 euros. I'm just going to use a hypothetical amount, to express what the calculation actually looks like, depending on whether you take 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. So let's assume your 65% translates to a monthly allowance of 1,000 euros. In that first year, you'd get a total of 12,000 euros. So for those people that choose to take 2 years parenting leave, they're not paid the same amount throughout the 24 months. That 12,000 total is then split over the 24 months. So instead of getting 1,000 euros a month, you'd be getting 500 euros for 48 months. Likewise, if you choose to take the 3 years in one go, that same 12,000 is split over 36 months, and then you'll be getting approximately 333 euros per month. That's how it's split up. But yeah, commonly most people take 1 year, and then the other 2 years they take them on a need basis. All right, so to actually touch on today's topic, I know being on maternity or parenting leave, it's full of bonding, a lot of much needed naps, cuddling with the baby. But you have this child that constantly needs you and they can't talk back. So traditionally, it's the partner that goes back to work. So you may find yourself in a situation where you actually don't speak with an adult the whole day. And then you'll find that friendship dynamics, they change. People assume that you're too busy, which you actually often are, but sometimes you're actually just too exhausted to reach out to people, to make a plan. I find that the silence that's associated with being on maternity or parenting leave becomes amplified, by our cultural differences. So in Zimbabwe, the culture is very different. If you think of somebody, you can just randomly show up at their place without making plans in advance. It's as if we have a national open door policy. But here in Germany, it's very different. If you want to meet up with somebody, you make plans, you discuss what you want to do. And then when you meet up, you do what you wanted to say, you want to do with each other. There's like a lot more respect for personal boundaries, which I really appreciate. So like I'm torn between these two worlds. Sometimes there are cases where I love the way things are done in Zimbabwe. Sometimes there are cases I love how it's done here in Germany, but both come with their pros and cons. I'll be honest with you, as a child in Zimbabwe, I mean, at some point I really, really, really hated this culture of unannounced visitors, because you'd be doing whatever you're doing, right? And then these people come and you're actually really excited to see them. Most of the times I was genuinely excited to see the family, friends, or the relatives that were popping by. But the next thing you know, you're being sent. You're being sent to cook food, to bake a cake, make tea, make mazoe, and that just interrupts with what you were doing before and it wasn't planned. So if you think of those different cultural settings and then you apply them, to the setup of a mom who's home alone with a baby, organically, the extent to which this mom is going to have contact with the outside world in Germany versus in Zimbabwe is just really going to be different. Actually, traditionally in Zimbabwe, back in the day, it's still practiced today, but not everywhere. When a woman gave birth, she moved into her parents' home, where she then got assistance, with transitioning into this new phase of motherhood, and got help from the mom and whatnot. And then she moved back into a marital home once she had the ropes of life with this new baby. These days, not everybody does it, but commonly, a mother goes to her daughter and helps her settle in with the baby and, just help with whatever help one needs till they're fully settled. But this also doesn't always happen, especially with so many people living abroad these days. And the thing with living in two different worlds, right? You can't cherry pick. When you're in one culture, one community, it's like, you get the full dose of that. You can't be like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. In this situation, I want this. In that situation, I want that. So whilst I absolutely love, the respect for personal boundaries here in Germany, it means that you have to be proactive to have access and contact with the outside world. And I'll be honest with you guys, when I had my son, I said to my friends and family in the beginning, I don't want visitors. I want to see what it's really like with the baby, and I'll tell you guys when I'm ready and able to welcome visitors. And I'll always be thankful for my family and friends for respecting that. There was no drama about it. And I told them when I was now ready to have visitors, and they popped by, and yeah, things were good. So I truly appreciate that, because sometimes you have situations where somebody expresses that and then there's drama. I didn't have that. Yeah, but this proactive thing is sometimes yeah, a social killer. In Zimbabwe, people commonly have helpers. So, if these unannounced visitors pop by, you can just say, hey, auntie, please can you prepare this? Please can you prepare that? I mean, now I'm talking about the case where you're like a mom with a little baby at home and people just show up, right? The house is already clean and auntie can help around. She can help you host the visitors. But here I found myself sometimes I'll genuinely really, really miss my friends, and I'll be like, okay, you know what, let me just invite them over. But then I'll think of, oh my gosh, I have to tidy up, I have to cook, and then I also have to like navigate everything with the baby sleep schedule. And sometimes if somebody shows up too late, it's really frustrating. And now you can't be upset that somebody, who's taken their time out to come and see you is too late, but now they've arrived when you should be putting the baby down for a nap. So sometimes I'll think about those logistics, and I'll just not invite my friends over because just the thought alone was too exhausting. But that amplifies the loneliness of being on maternity or parenting leave. At the end of the day, the most important thing is having a solid village, that's a very crucial part of your parenting journey. And in Zimbabwe, we're born in an existing, fully functional village. And for those of us living in Germany or others living abroad, you have to build your village from scratch. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in my next video, how I did it. And today I would say I have a solid village. I'm so grateful for my family and friends that are a part of this parenting journey. So if you like this video, hit the like button, share this with those pregnant moms or young moms that you know, and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. See you next time.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.